Welcome back to this clown's garage. In this video I will be doing a C5 brake upgrade on the 79 Camaro. So anything from a 1970 to 1981 Camaro or Firebird, it's the exact same procedure. And this car has drums in the back, so we're doing a rear brake disc conversion in the back also. And we're going from an 11-inch rotor in the front to a 13-inch rotor. And you need 17-inch rims to clear everything. We're also doing brand new copper nickel brake lines with all gravel guards throughout the front all the way through the back of the car. We're changing the combination valve to a disc rear conversion spring inside, so it's good for four-wheel discs. And we're also changing the master and the brake booster for four-wheel disc car. So let's begin. Pop the tie rod out. First thing in order of business is straighten out this cotter pin and pop it out. It's an 11/16 castle nut. Okay, now I'm gonna have my camera girl hit that with a pickle fork. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. So I still had this castle nut threaded on there so I could catch it so it won't fall. So pop that off, and I like to put the hardware back on so it doesn't get lost. Now the reason I do that first is because now you can move this around easily. And the next thing I do is straighten out the bottom ball joint castle nut cotter pin. And grab it and twist it around. And same thing on top. Take that cotter pin out. The bottom ball joint is 22mm. I'm going to thread that up, the castle nut, but I'm not going to take it out. And I'm doing the same thing on top. The top is a 3/4. And same thing here. I'm just going to thread this to the bottom of the threads and leave it there. You'll need a pickle fork for this job. You can rent these at AutoZone for free. So put this in there. Have my camera girl whack it. All right, Brianna, whack it real good. Whack it like a man. Bad job. Bad job. Make me proud, Brianna. Whack it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. What an awesome right hand on my camera girl. And the reason why we had this on there is so I could catch that. It doesn't fall out. And we do the same thing on the bottom one now. There you go. Woo! Brianna knows how to handle the big hammer very well. Good job, Brianna. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Brianna.
Now before we take the ball joints, the castle nuts off, I'm just going to go ahead and snip this here. I snipped this because we got new steel braided ones that comes with the kit. And I'm just going to thread a bolt in here to keep this from dripping. I'm going to take the top castle nut off. And take the bottom nut off. Alright, now you can pop the top control arm off, just like that. And this whole thing comes right out. Just like that. So this is what we're putting in. This is a kit, and it comes with everything you need pretty much to do the fronts. This is classic performance part number. It's a long part number. It's 7081 SWBKSC5B. I also put it on the bottom where the description is below. You go to summitracing.com has it, so you just go there and enter that part number. So you get the rotors in the front, you get the caliper, you get pads with it, you also get the spindle in the back. It comes with a VSS sensor, but we're just going to clip that, we're not going to use that. The spindle comes bare, so we just put some Rust-Oleum paint on here. Also, the bearing in the front is a hub style bearing. It's not a tapered bearing like you have in the old school cars like we took off. So this is what it looks like. And these are M12s, 1.5 thread size, so you need to get the appropriate lug nuts for that. And it also comes with this steel braided brake lines and some hardware with it for the banjo fittings. Now you can tell which is the left or right. This one is going to go up like this, so this is the passenger side because the tie rod's going to go in from here. So I'm just going to grab this and put it on the ball joints. And pop it in the hole. Just like that. And put the top one in. And just catch these. Alright, now it's tight, and I gotta turn this until I see the hole. And again, you're gonna have to stick it in the hole. And cut this here. Done. And same thing on the bottom. And we're good. Pop the tie rod in. Okay, now I'm going to cut the VSS sensor with my favorite tool in my toolbox, my dikes. Alright, now we're going to take this master off. And we have a little turkey baster here. We're going to siphon out all the old brake fluid. So when we crack these lines open, not much is going to leak out of it. So, almost done with that. These are 9/16 tube nuts on here. That's also 9/16. Crack that loose. Once I use the flared wrench on that, which you have to use or else you can strip these, I like to use an adjustable wrench to take it out the rest of the way. And that's loose. And make sure you put rags underneath to catch any fluid. So these are loose. Now on the studs over here holding the master to the booster, there's two 15mm nuts. So take those off. Now this bracket, the combo valve down here is held onto it, and the master is right behind it. So move these lines out of the way here. Just pop this out. Just like that. Pop this off. Now I'm just going to crack the lines off the combo valve. And there's two front lines and one back line from here. I'm just going to loosen all those and take them off. Take the brake light, warning light off. Put that to the side. Alright, now this thing's rusted on there. It's also moving on with the line, so I'm going to use my favorite tool here. You guessed it, my dikes. I'll just crimp that and cut it. Just like that. And the other front line, that's loose. And that's off also. And this whole pop valve can be taken out. Alright, now we're taking the brake booster, the vacuum booster out. And you see back there, there's actually 4 studs that go through the firewall. And there's nuts on this side over here. It looks like somebody tried to loosen one or whatever happened there, but this one's not tight. It's halfway out. So those are 15mm nuts over there. There's 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. And the top's off. Alright, so back here we're gonna take all the wires out. There's a clamp here, just open it up and move everything over. And down there are the 2 bolts. I mean, sorry, the two studs with the 2 nuts on them. Alright, so on this on the driver's side, I just put a open and offset wrench. I put the box inside there, and that's how you turn this to get those loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that top one off on the driver's side. Alright, now that I cracked it loose with the other one, I'm gonna use a ratcheting one here.
That sure is tight.
Yes, it is. So we got a little bored, moving 1/4 of an inch every time that bolt back there. So what we did was we tried hitting this over to undo this top piece from the brake booster. This screws out and pops out. But we decided to mangle it and cut it open, and with a hole saw put a hole over there so we get a deep socket in there. And let's zip this bad boy out. Yeah, buddy! That's what I'm talking about. Oh, also, if you guys are wondering how this stayed in place, the middle of the diaphragm, I put a sheet metal screw right there to hold it in place. And now, that'll come out. Alright, so you just gotta finagle this out. And that's what you got. This is the power brake booster we're putting in. We actually painted it. It comes bare metal. It's AC Delco part number 14PB as in boy 4276. And this is what it comes with. It also comes with a rod over here in the middle. And that's how it is on the other side. Go ahead and put this in now. And pop her in the hole. Line it up. And yes, put her right in. Alright, now this job here is a little bit of a pain. What you gotta do is you gotta move the booster out a little bit and catch it by hand back there. We can't really show you how to do it because there's no room back there. So that's how you catch those. And we also got new nuts. They're M10s by 1.5. And cleaned out the threads so you could thread it down by hand all the way down. Then tighten it down. So we pretty much got all of them. We just gotta tighten them down now. On this last bolt, I grinded down an obstruction wrench. And it's actually tightening up really nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that one down. This is the hardest one to get to. It's the driver's side and the bottom. So I'll show you when I'm done with this, what the tool looks like. Alright, so this is what I used over there. It's an obstruction wrench, and I grinded the end down so you get back into the stud over there. And the top right over here on the passenger side, you can only fit an open end to crank that down. So that's what you need to put the booster on. Alright, now the rod inside of the brake booster goes right here, and there's a clip right there. Right there. That holds that rod in place. So all you gotta do is just pop that onto this brake pedal and you're good. And the brake booster's in. Alright, with the brake booster you gotta put in this prop valve, this combo valve actually. It's part number Summit 760185. This is, there's a valve in here, the spring in here is good for disc brakes in the back. So this is what it looks like, and we put these fittings on here. These fittings you get from the stopshop.com. These are SAE fittings. And we got fittings, that's the part number. And you're gonna need fittings for a 1/4 inch and 3/16 inch tube. And since they're SAE, these are for double inverted 45-degree flares. Now I'm gonna take these 2 1/2-inch bolts out, and this is gonna go in its place just like this. Put the new one on. This is the master cylinder part number. It's a centric piece. And this is the master cylinder, what it looks like. This is going to go into the brake booster. And this goes right there. Just like that. And the back of this prop valve, the combo valve, this is a 1/4 inch line. So it's going to be like this. I have it on the bench here. 1/4 inch into a 1/4 inch on the master. And this is a 3/16 inch tube. And these are all double flared SAE fittings. And this is 1/4 inch, 3/16. So that's why I got the two packages. And this is all from the stopshop.com. And same thing here. This 1/4 inch here goes to the 1/4 inch here. And 3/16, 3/16. And this goes to the front of the car, the left and right brakes. And this 1/4 inch goes all the way straight to the back to feed the rear brakes. So it looks like. And this here is also from the stopshop.com. This is 3/16 copper nickel tubing, and this is 1/4 inch copper nickel tubing, about 25 feet rolls. All right, so we did one line already. We took the old ones off the combo valve, and this is the 1/4 inch line. This is for the rear lines. This piece here is for the rear of the brakes. Now for the front of the brakes, it's a 3/16 line, and this is the 3/16 line. We're going to use this as a template. So we're going to go ahead and use these new fittings with the copper nickel 3/16 line. Alright, so now we're going to bend this by hand. This stuff is really easy to bend by hand. And also flares very nicely. It'll never rust on you. Alright, now we're going to cut the line. I'm going to use a small tubing cutter. And make sure you go really slowly with this because you don't want to kink the line because it's a little soft. There you go. Now put the line in here. Okay, that's a 3/16 hole. You put the die in it. Clamp that down and tighten her down. And also don't forget to tighten these down to clamp the tube in. And now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten this down. Undo that. Pop this out. That's a nice bubble flare. Now to double flare that, you got to pop this in and crank down on that. And that's all you need. That's a nice double flare right there. And that's what you got. And that's all mocked up right there. Now I was on the rear brakes, converting these to disc. I took the wheel off, I took the drum off, and to take all this stuff off, yeah, they make special tools and I have them, but I'm just going to use this. So, I'm going to grab this. One second. Off. That off. This, just push it in and twist. That comes right off. This whole thing. Everything pops out. Throw everything on the floor. And e-brake. Okay, now we're taking the rear end cover off because we gotta pop the C-clips out so we put the axles, pull them out. Now we're gonna crack this loose and gotta wedge that there. Alright, so this snapped, so we gotta drill into this now. Fun stuff. Alright, we actually got lucky here. That's coming out. Yeah, buddy. Came right out. Alright, now you gotta have somebody on the axle side push the axle in. Push it? Yep, push it. Right there. There, okay. Now pull the axle out. And grab the magnet and a C-clip. Alright, now there's 4 bolts here with nuts on the other side, and they hold this whole plate in for the drum. These are going to snap off, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to heat these up with my mini ductor, get them cherry hot red, then I'm going to zip them off with my impact. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. Alright, now it's ready. Yeah, baby. So I'm doing the same thing with the other 3. Alright, so we took all the bolts off. Alright, now pop this off. Right out. I'm also going to snip the brake line here. And now this whole thing comes right off. Pop the seal out. Some brake cleaner in here. Clean this out. Put some gray RTV, ultra gray, around here where the seal sits. Just go all the way around with it. This is the seal we're putting in. That's the part number. And that's what it looks like. And I'm going to pop this in. Put a socket over it, hammer it on. It's good. Put some gear oil inside this axle seal. Alright, clean this up with a wire brush as much as you can. Pop the axle back in. And you got to point it up a little bit. Right there. Now put the C-clip back in. Pop it right there. And got to press the axle back out so the C-clip stays in. Pop right in. Alright, pop this in. Sometimes you might need to have somebody on this side pull the axle. Make sure you line up the hole. Sometimes it needs a little love tap to go in. Done. Here's the part number for the rears, and this is for staggered shocks. So by staggered shocks, what I mean is if you look at the shocks here, the one in the back is behind the axle, the shock, and the one on the right side is in front of the axle. Those are staggered shocks. So make sure you get the right application. Some Z28s, this is Z28, came with regular shocks and some came with staggered. So always check that when you order this kit. And now we're putting this shim here. You have to experiment with the shims. This is a thin shim. I think it's about 1/8. And they come with bolts supplied over here. And we're just gonna go ahead and tighten these down. Now these nuts, you see how they're there's a little pattern on here? These are locking nuts. So you want to put the flat side on first. The other side, one thread on. And these are 14mm nuts and bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and just tighten these down now. Alright, and this is nice and tight. Okay, now I'm gonna clean the face of this axle here. fluid film here to protect it from rusting. Use some brake cleaner. Clean this up. Make sure you get it all over your model's hands. Put it on. Put 2 nuts on it to hold the rotor in place while you put the caliper on. I'm going to put this on. There's a little clip in here. It has to go behind a piston face over here. So put this on like that. And put these on from behind. And the bottom one. And now push it down and tighten it down. And now get the bottom one in. That's good. And these are good. Oh, one thing to pay attention here. To make sure all the air is out of the calipers, the bleeder should always face upwards. So that's when you know you have the caliper on right. I also want to mention one more thing. If you're trying to put this caliper on and the outer pad is hitting, that means your shim is either too big or you need to take it off. And the same thing if the inner pad is hitting, you need a bigger shim. Alright, so they gave you this steel braided lines here. This is just mocked up for now. They also give you these tabs over here to weld to the rear end. And that looks like a good spot for it, so I made a mark here. I'm going to sand this down and weld this tab here. And then the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, so threw some tacks on it over there. That's good. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. This, I believe, is a 3rd gen Camaro line for the rear end. And it doesn't fit through here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bore it slightly until it fits. Alright, so that's what it looks like. That's not going anywhere. Alright, so we're pretty much marking stuff up. We put the line here, we put the clip here, they provide you with the clip. We made this little line here, and this one over there. And now we're going to do the line that goes from here to this one, with the hard line. When using, this is all these lines here are 3/16 lines, and the line going back to the front of the car, sorry, that's a 1/4 inch line. So I'll go ahead and do that line now. Putting the line by hand, forming it. I'm going to cut and flare it. Alright, now we're going to deburr the inside with a little screwdriver and bevel the ends. And that's good. Alright, so we also got this from the Stop Shop. The gravel guard is stainless steel. And cut that with my amazing dikes. Put the fitting on it. Alright, now we're putting in this flaring tool. Put that down. Tighten a little bit. Push this so it could be flat. And that's good. Now I got operation, tighten it down a little some more. Go to operation 1 for 3/16 line. That's good. Operation 2. We'll do the flare. And that should come out perfect. Let's take a look at that. Better than factory, baby. Let's go ahead and put this on the car now. Put that right there. and put this over here. And I'm just going to tighten that down. And we're also going to do the lines in the back. All the lines are going to be brand new. So we're just going to do the same procedure for all lines. Alright, now put the e-brake cable. I took the old one out and put it through the frame rail over here. And it comes out through here. Okay, now over here there's a groove. You got to put this clip in. This came stock with the car. So that's held over there. Alright, now let's put it in here on the caliper. Pop the spring out, loop this around, and put it in this spring first. Pop it through this hole, and now the trick is to get this back where it was. Compress the spring, put it back in, like that. Alright, now over here, gotta pull it over this. Nope, just like that. And you're in over here. And there's a cover there, and put that on. Okay, now this has to pass through the back of this. I'm gonna go ahead and clamp this down and back off the nut so I can put that through. Slide this on here, put this back through, and put the nut back on. And that's good. Alright, put that through here. Now grab this one and put it through this hole. Alright, now I'm going to tighten this down so there's a little tension on this stuff here. And this goes over here in the exhaust. So I'm going to do that. That's good. Alright, we're going to put the master on now. We can't find the hoses to bench bleed this thing, so we just bleed it on the car as is. So everything is on here. And before I put this on, I'll catch everything. So, on the prop valve, on the combo valve. Alright, so that caught. And now the bottom one. And that caught as well. Alright, now that everything caught, I can go ahead and mount this. Okay. Let me tighten this down for now. That's good. And we're good. Alright, I'm just going to explain what we're going to do here. Since a lot of people are going to do a C5 conversion on a car like this, they're probably not going to change all this stuff. I'm going to fill this with fluid. You could bench bleed this first. It's probably a better idea to do that first. And we're going to bleed it starting from the top, going to the bottom. So we're going to fill this up, have somebody sit in the car, hit the brakes, crack this open, until we're confident that we have enough air out of here. Then we're going to tighten these down, go down here, down to these now. This is the back, this is the front, and do the same procedure. Have somebody pump it, hold it, and crack these loose to get the air out. You can also gravity bleed some of this stuff, but that's how we're going to do this. So once we do that, we're also going to bleed all the brakes. I have a video on how to bleed brakes, and I'll put the link in the description below, so I don't have to go through all that with you guys. Alright, so everything's bled. We went inside, pumped the brakes, looked at all the fittings again one last time, and I felt around them. There's nothing leaking. Sometimes when you do this a brake job like this, a complete brake job, in other words changing the master and the combination valve, sometimes the differential valve in the middle moves back and forth where that sensor is in the middle. So what I do is I pop that sensor out and put a pick in there. make sure to hold it in place. They also make a tool, but I found those tools not to be too helpful. I just stick a pick in there and hold it in the middle. And I go ahead around and bleed all the brakes. Everything is good. We also went lock to lock over here. And I decided to put a little bit of a hose there for add a little further protection because it's touching a little bit when it's all the way to lock, turn to the left lock position on the steering wheel. So that's just a little further protection there. And everything's pretty much done. We'll go ahead, take it for a test drive, break it in a little bit, and the whole system is complete. So thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel, like me, share me, also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Clowny1969. Sayonara!